You're ready.
Ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll call this meeting to order at 11:15, Monday, October 21st, 2024. We're here to review interim building inspector contract with planning and zoning. Would you explain to us what we have before us here? We have a contract offer from Post Falls, is that correct?
Correct. So in this process of transitioning from Kellogg as our servicer of building inspection services, we needed to transition to somebody who was certified to provide those that certification for us until James can get up to speed and get certified himself. And so we started exploring contracts with potential folks that could provide those services for us. So we went to quite a host of folks to get information or solicit a contract from them. Post Falls was the only one that responded with an affirmative and an interest in the contract. And so we started that process. We revised our contract that we had between Kellogg and with previous building contractors. And we had that reviewed by the prosecuting attorney's office. And then we sent it out to him for review, and he's agreed to it. If we'll approve it. So.
Okay. You said Post Falls. We've also just recently heard back from Kellogg.
Correct.
Okay.
So late last week, we got an offer letter from Kellogg that offered up a proposal to continue some interim inspections for 3 to 6 months, I think was the terms. For a rate, and that was brought up, but we haven't explored that in depth. So that's what this meeting is for, I guess.
I want to step in here and kind of explain something, Mr. Chairman. We made this decision on bringing the building inspector in-house because of code enforcement. Mainly because of code enforcement, not because Kellogg wasn't doing their job or anything like that. We were lacking code enforcement. From our borders, from the St. Joe River to Kootenai County to the Coeur d'Alene River, all the way up to Montana, we've got a large area. Our assessor went out last year, and we've got numerous violations of not having, people not having building permits. And building permits really are necessary. One of the problems that we're seeing throughout the state is building permits. The title companies are starting to search for building permits. The lending companies are starting to search for building permits. If you don't have a building permit, you may not, later on, that's going to be a factor. Now, with Kellogg, we had a 15-85 split, meaning Kellogg got 85% of our building permit fees, and so Kellogg's been generally being paid about $80,000 to $100,000 a year, and with our budget shortfall and plus our need for a building code inspector or building code enforcer, we've decided to bring him in and have a building inspector / code enforcer. And that's what this commission decided to do. Post Falls has offered us a 65-35 split. Kellogg has offered us a 75-25 split, I believe. We contacted Kootenai County. I did that myself. Kootenai County did not have anybody available. They are looking for building inspectors as well. HMH, we contacted HMH. HMH, we have a current contract under HMH, and their building inspector is no longer doing inspections. And I also contacted the state of Idaho. Dan has as well, and they usually provide a building inspector like Mullen does, and they don't have the staff. So we've kind of hit a roadblock. We're two weeks into it, and now we have to make a decision. We've got people that are waiting for building permits, and that's why we've called this meeting kind of all of a sudden.
Go ahead, Tracy.
Yeah, I was kind of out of the loop on a lot of that part, but I'm just curious why Kellogg wasn't made an offer with these other people when they're within our community, and it's good to keep these relationships working good for our citizens. I don't know where they got left out, or anyone in our community.
Do you want to address that?
Well, I think we thought we did, because their original response to our notifying them that we were going to rescind the contract, their original offer was to a 5% discount with no additional changes to their contract. That was part of the decision to go ahead and move forward with rescinding the contract. After the contract on the 31st, we received another letter where they offered another 5%. Was their offer was that they were going to keep inspecting the permits they had been issued and paid for through April of next year, and they were only going to go back to April of last year or this year. So all previous permits that have been issued that they've been paid for, they weren't going to continue to inspect, but just the ones from the last 6 months, and then they were only going to do it for the next 6 months. So we took that as their offer that they didn't want to do any more inspection services for us, and so we didn't solicit them for another option. And then this last option came back. I don't know who went and talked to them, but somebody went and talked to them, and then last Friday we got a letter offering up the 75-25 split for a temporary 3 to 6 months service.
Yeah, and my understanding was a contractor had talked to them about someone from Post Falls doing the inspections. But with that person coming from Post Falls, will they be able to be here very conveniently for our citizens?
Well, we think so, because part of the plan was what we need is somebody certified for James to work under, and certainly we had a logistical situation with him finishing out his 2 weeks of work with the assessor's office as well as a previously planned hunting trip. So we knew we were going to be some time frame, but now we have James on board with somebody that's certified. James will be able to hit the ground running doing inspections under that certification. So we think we won't see any particular loss in service because between myself and James, we'll be able to handle those under the oversight of Justin, and then certainly Justin will be able to be over here as needed on a basis. But yes, he does have limited access as he has a couple other jobs. He does inspections for the city of Spirit Lake as well as the city of Hayden Lake. So certainly we'll be utilizing him for oversight, and much of what we do with him will be via email, but he'll be over here periodically during each week to work with James on that. So to answer your question is, we don't feel like there'll be any loss in service until we get up to speed.
Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead, Commissioner.
No, you guys, no. I'm good.
Okay. It sounds like between Post Falls and Kellogg, you're recommending Post Falls, even though Kellogg has offered this most recent offer that came in last Friday or Thursday is financially a little bit better. What's your basis for your recommendation?
Mostly while it's temporary until James can get up to speed with his own certifications, the 3 to 6 months may not be the length of time we need. We may need longer than that, worst case scenario. I'd also like to entertain the idea that we have somebody on board longer term in case we have an overworkload. If for some reason James has to take time off for good, bad, or ugly reasons, or if we just need some expertise that maybe James doesn't have, we would have a source of somebody to go to because we'd have an on-board contract with somebody. So the long-term nature of the one with Post Falls seemed better than the short-term nature.
Okay.
And the fiscal difference in the fees being paid out.
Okay. Comments?
Well, I'd like to, the county is only authorized to use property taxes as their revenue. Where cities, they get a lot of different, they can do property tax, they can do business, they can do sales tax, things of that nature. And I think it's important that we look at, we basically did 3 bids. We wanted 3 bids. And we did that for transparency reasons because the Idaho code, this was under the amount in the Idaho code. It's under $50,000. And so we didn't have to really go out and do a 3 bids, but we did. So, and I think, we need to look at our budget as well. I know 10%, but 10% of $1,000 is $100.
Well, I might add under that building permit fees are derived from the applicant, not from tax dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So those fees that are paid out will be based on the permits that come in, not out of taxpayer dollars.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Okay, so I think could you make your summary point again there? Are you thinking Kellogg because it's a better price?
No, actually, Post Falls is a better price. $65.35. Kellogg's was $75.25.
Oh, okay, I understand what you're saying.
So we get 35% instead of 25%.
Yeah. Okay. Tracy, do you have a comment?
No, I just disagree with going outside of our county, but I think there's just conflicts or something, and it's a shame that we're not keeping the community working together.
Okay.
I'm just hearing sides. I mean, I've talked to both sides since we got that letter, and it just, it doesn't seem the communication. Everyone has a different story.
Okay, so you would be inclined to go towards the Kellogg, even though the money
Right.
is different.
Yes.
Okay. And it sounds like you're more inclined to go with Post Falls
Yes.
because of the fee structure.
Yep.
And do you have any other reasons that we should be considering?
Well, I think part of the reason we didn't immediately go back to Kellogg is because they made it clear they weren't going to inspect any of the permits they've already been paid for, past April 1st and previous to April 1st. So that led us to believe they weren't interested in being a team player and and honoring their contract. So that was part of the situation with Kellogg, was they made it clear in their letters they weren't intending to.
Even though they've been paid for them?
Correct.
So Kellogg did, prior to April, take money for inspections that they're no longer doing.
Yes, we had numerous permits that were issued way prior to April 1st of 24 that are still open and still expecting inspections. In fact, the pressure we're under right now is for inspections are for permits that Kellogg has been issued, and they won't do the inspections on.
Okay. I mean, it's not okay, but I understand. Okay. Well, commissioners, do you have any further questions or comments?
No.
No.
Legal, do you have anything to add to this?
Not from my office.
Okay. Well, at this point, I would entertain a motion.
I'll motion to approve Post Falls as our interim building inspector.
Okay, I have a motion. I'll second. Do we have any discussion? Commissioner Cassidy?
No.
Commissioner Zimmerman?
No.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Okay. Thank you. The ayes have it for Post Falls, so we will go with the contract for Post Falls. Okay. All right. Public comment.
It sounds like we should be getting a reimbursement for the building permits we won't follow through on.
Good point. Any comments from you, James? Mr. Sesser? comment?
I had a question about that for the permits. You canceled the contract, correct?
We didn't renew the contract, or did we cancel?
We canceled it.
We canceled the contract.
I would assume if you were doing any other business and you said, hey, you're gonna be the one installing my cable and I'm canceling your contract, I wouldn't expect you to keep going out and installing cable, would you?
I see your point. I think it's a little different. What he's commented on is that we canceled the contract as of October.
That's what I'm saying. You said, hey, well, you're gonna do the work for us. You've been doing the work the entire time. I'm saying I don't want you to work for me anymore. That would assume I'm not gonna be working for you anymore. So then I'm not gonna be gaining any more money in the future of new jobs or anything like that. So why would I keep doing the jobs that you canceled on me?
Well, I think it was those permits have been, the work was paid for already. We paid those permits out when they're issued. So the work has been paid for and the services haven't been rendered.
Yes, I understand that, but you canceled the contract. As soon as you cancel my contract, I'm no longer gonna be working for you.
Well, you could argue that both
If the
ways.
contract should have been, hey, we're gonna stop doing that, we expect you to follow through, but if you cancel my contract, I no longer work for you.
And that seems
Okay.
to be Kellogg's stance, so.
Okay.
How long is the contract with the Post Falls?
It's temporary, but the way it's written is for a year.
And then who did you guys hire for the new building inspector?
James.
James.
James,
What's your last name?
Corning,
How do I spell that?
Corning.
Perfect. Cool. And there's certifications and stuff that he's being brought up to speed on. And the Post Falls guy will be kind of like a helper / mentor once he hits the ground running, and like that's
You can
my
say that.
understanding. Yeah. And you used to work for Jerry. Okay. Cool. Congratulations.
Okay. Anything further?
Not from my office.
Okay. Commissioners, anything further?
No.
Okay. Well, we've still got a load of work to do today. So with that, I think we will adjourn.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So much. So, I'll get